One time, Lord Vishnu transformed into a Matsya, that's a fish, and appeared in front of Manu, the progenitor of all mankind, the son of Lord Brahma, and warned him of a pralaya that was going to come. Pralaya is a massive deluge specifically meant to destroy humanity. He warned Manu to build a boat and escape so he could save humanity. For centuries, Hindus have told and retold this story from the Satpatha Brahmana and Matsya Purana and worshipped Vishnu and Manu for saving us all. This is what I was referring to in the last video when I was talking about the reasons Aryans left their homeland in the first place and came to India. Now I want to expand upon this story from the Matsya Purana and explore to the depths of it. But before that, let me take you to Sumer, which is roughly around modern Iran. In the Sumerian culture, there's been a famous myth that tells about King Ziusudra, who was warned by the gods of an upcoming flood that will destroy the world. He was told to build a ship in which he stayed for 7 days and thus survived the flood and restarted humanity. So, Manu wasn't the only one. Who saved us then? Was it Manu? Or was it Ziusudra? Or was it, and let's not forget him, Noah? In fact, Noah's story is perhaps the most famous of all the flood stories, where Noah escapes the great destructive flood on a boat with all the animals and lands in modern-day Turkey, from where he restarted humanity. But again, these are also not the only ones. Wherever you travel around the world, you come across more and more of such flood myths, which tell of a massive destructive flood that came a long time ago because gods were too angry and wanted to destroy mankind because it had become too sinful or too loud, and gods wanted to purge and clean the world and make a fresh start on their project humanity. Sounds fair enough. Actually, I'm with them, more so now than ever. But coming back. In their supervillain type destructive plan, the gods save 1 or 2 special people who escaped the deluge on a boat, and now we are a result of it. In fact, the oldest of all such flood myths is the Babylonian Epic of Gilgamesh, which is at least as old as the 18th century BC. In Greek mythology, Zeus gets angry and decides to end the Bronze Age. In China, there's a legend of Fu He, who escaped a great flood on a boat with her husband, 3 sons and 3 daughters, and repopulates the earth. Rather disturbing if you think about it deeper. Mayan writings also refer to a flood. My point is, there really must have been a massive flood. While we don't know the details, all the legends of this era, be it Indian, Hebrew, Babylonian, all of them refer in some way, shape or form to a massive flood, and all of them date around 3000 BC. So what's really going on here? Why is everyone talking of a flood? How is it possible that so many cultures, completely unconnected to each other, have the same kind of creation myths about angry gods and floods? In fact, there are over 200 flood myths that can be traced around cultures all across the world today. So is it pure coincidence that almost every culture has its own flood myth? Or do they remember something? Or can we dig deeper historically and find reasons and facts behind this? As it turns out, there are explanations at 3 different levels: the river level, the sea level, and the ocean level. In other words, the local level, the larger intercultural and migrational level, and the global level. So let's first see the local, the river level. See, early societies developed around rivers. The Saptasindhu, the Egyptians. The earliest people would settle around rivers because that was their only water supply. And most rivers are annually flooded. It is a natural phenomenon, right? So this could be the reason where the flood stories initiated among cultures. For example, we have evidence that Tigris and Euphrates River had massive flooding around 2900 BC. And this is where the biblical Sumerian and Akkadian cultures actually originate from. If we look at the larger, the sea level, we know that in 1600 BC in the Aegean Sea, The island of Thera had a massive volcanic eruption which actually caused major parts of the island itself to crumble into the sea, causing a massive tsunami across the coastline. And in the Black Sea, analyzing the sediment cores from the bed of the Black Sea, it has been discovered that before 5600 BC, the sea was actually a large freshwater lake. Then glacial ice melted off the poles and raised sea levels worldwide. This caused the Mediterranean Sea to overtop a narrow strip of land and decant into the lake, making it the Black Sea. If we look at the evidence at the global level, we know that around 6400 BC, the last ice age was coming to an end and glaciers were melting. In a Norse myth, god Odin killed an ice giant Ymir and his blood gushed forth, causing a deluge in that region. Maybe this myth is trying to keep the memory of this unfathomable, scary event. In the southern Indian Ocean, there is something from 5000 years ago. In 2900 BC, a meteor crashed into the southern Indian Ocean. It created a crater which is 30 kilometers wide. So big, it is 25 times bigger than the meteor crater in Arizona today. When this meteor impacted, it obviously created a mega tsunami, affecting the coastal region still really far. If you think the 2000 tsunami was big, this one was its heroin addict, beer guzzling crazy granddaddy. This crater can actually still be seen today, by the way. Going further, when the Pleistocene epoch ended 12,000 years ago and our epoch, Holocene, started, glaciers were melting at a very consistent rate. In fact, at that time, the whole planet's sea water level rose by 125 meters. This definitely affected the Persian Gulf, the Indian coast, and so on. And these regions were inhabited, and people had to migrate inlands. In fact, you can still see evidence of human habitation underwater in these coastal regions. Australian Aborigines commonly tell of a story when the Australian coastline was many miles further out into the sea. So there we have it. Something did happen back then, or a series of them, causing massive migration, fear, and birthing legends of flood and survival of mankind. The story of the Aryans also starts here, a destructive event which led them to the land of the Saptasindhu and begin a new era, jostling for space with the locals, causing feuds that would last generations, shake and shape our society, forming our culture, our religion, our language, fighting wars and building forts. So what happened after the Aryans came here and the natives received a rude awakening? How did that lead to the creation of cities, kingdoms, a culture of Vedas and Puranas, of sacrifices and shivlings, of marigold flowers and temples? We'll enter this chapter of Indian history in another video. Until then, I hope you enjoyed it. Ciao!